So this seems to be a video that all atheist YouTubers seem to make, and that's how they became an atheist. What made them come to the conclusion that they don't believe in a deity, that there is no deity, whether it be the God of the Christian Bible or Allah of Islam, and its false prophets, Muhammad and Jesus. I was raised in a secular household where my parents did not force a certain religion on me or my brothers. But one of my brothers did become quite religious at one point, and I was always skeptical about an all-knowing being in the sky, even when I was young. This was around my middle school years. My brothers and some of my friends became religious as well, and they would read the Bible all the time and go to church, which was just down the street from our house. And they would constantly ask me, "Do you believe in God?" And I would always say yes, even though I was not really sure if I did. Then came them trying to force me to go to church. The subtle, under-the-rug rhetoric would get tossed around at me constantly. If you don't do this, you'll go to hell, or you won't go to heaven. You need to be saved and all of that bullshit. Much to my annoyance, I broke down and went into the church a couple of times, met some new people, and had fun playing around with my friends. Then the sermon would start. The pastor would read passages from the Bible, nitpick passages, of course, tell us how awesome God is, and how amazing Jesus was, and giving your life to Christ is the only way to get into heaven and have a meaningful life, blah, 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 blah. My inner rebel, however, turned up to 1,000. And while keeping it to myself, I automatically resented this notion. You better have this personality. You better worship me, something I can't even see. This is how you need to conduct yourself, or else. And my attitude internally was basically, fuck you, fuck off. The dogma and the authoritarianism is what I rejected. I hate when someone tells me what to do, and I especially resent trying to be told what to do by a being I couldn't even see. And during the church services, a band would come up and play gospel music. And while the music was playing, I saw people around the room holding their hands in the air, waving them around, and seemingly to be in a trance. And I felt this looked so silly to me. That there was nothing there. There was no being that could hear you. I found it really ridiculous, and it seemed like a cult to me, even when I was that young. And when I got older, I started to look into history, and I looked at the way the world was, and I saw how dreaded it really was, and the atrocities that the world has been inflicted to the humans that occupy it. And a lot of it has been man-made, of course. But so much violence has also been done in the name of a religion. Disease, famine, little children suffering. But only if people believed in a being that they could not see, everything will be good. And I want to be honest, I do not want to get to know God. I don't want to get to know him. I'd tell him to fuck off. How could you let this world be such a harsh place? Why are the seven deadly sins our innate human nature? It's all bullshit to me. Why should I worship something I can't see? Why read a book that was written by desert dwellers who didn't even have toilet paper? And another thing, if heaven is like anything in the Bible, if the Bible is the prerequisite to get into heaven, I don't think I want to go in. I'll have to put gays to death, no sex, no indulgence in my sexual desires at all. I couldn't have any fun. Basically, I couldn't be human. So fuck heaven. Fuck the Bible. Fuck the Quran. Fuck any religious text. I don't want any part of it. I don't want to be a part of something that requires me to be so judgmental. I don't want to hide behind a book. I don't want to hide behind a faulty book that has so much contradiction and hypocrisy just out of convenience. God is good when the Seahawks and Russell Wilson wins a football game. But what about the kids with cancer? What about the kids that are starving, dying from starvation, dying from war, dying from bombs being dropped on their heads? How could God allow this? How can there be a God? It's just a ridiculous concept to me. That's why I don't believe in it. I just can't bring myself to believe in such a being. I cannot justify a being of this nature. If you're not on your knees and begging him every Sunday, he'll send you to hell. He'll send you to hell, burn and torture for all eternity. But just remember that he loves you. Yeah, I just detest such a being that wants you to conform to him, wants you to follow all of his rules, wants you to basically be a slave, conform to his ideology. So, in essence, God is probably the biggest SJW of all time. If you actually look at it and if you want to be honest with yourself, God is a pretty huge SJW. Yeah, I just see such a lack of evidence that there's a God. And there's so much evidence that points that there's not one. So that's kind of how I became an atheist. I'm an atheist agnostic, to be more accurate, because do I know that there's one? No. But I do believe that there's not one. It's two different questions. I live my life if there isn't one. I don't believe in it. I don't follow it. And I don't really need it either. I don't need a spiritual substance. I don't need spiritual comfort, because I just think it's fake. I think it's false at the end of the day. And I want to be in reality rather than live in a fantasy land. Case in point, Hurricane Harvey in Texas has destroyed homes, has been destroying lives, but God is real because this cross happened to stay up during the hurricane. I just can't believe in this sort of thing. This hurricane's killing people, but God was worried about the cross staying up instead of actually, not causing this hurricane to destroy lives and homes. See, it's this idiocy, it's this backwards, illogical thinking that I just can't get behind. And that's why I'm an atheist. And the only way for me to believe in God is if he literally comes down from the sky with his long white beard and long white hair and actually announce himself. It's the only way that I'll be a quote-unquote believer. And I'm reading the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey, and it makes way more sense and it has way more cohesive arguments than I've ever read in the fucking Bible. So, that's it for today. That's why I'm an atheist, and like I said, I'll probably always be one until he actually physically announces himself. So, I'll see you next time.